Hello and welcome to Prepspot. In this video we are going to know in detail why India, despite its impressive economic progress and rapid modernization in several sectors, is still not ready for developed economy status as we approach April 2025, and I will explain this in a comprehensive manner that integrates economic, social, infrastructural, governance, and environmental perspectives. To begin, it is important to understand that the concept of a developed economy is not solely determined by a single metric like GDP per capita, but rather by a combination of factors that include high per capita income, advanced infrastructure, robust social services, technological innovations, and highly efficient governance, among others. For instance, according to the World Bank's benchmarks, a developed country typically exhibits a GDP per capita of over $13,205, advanced technological capabilities, and sustained high living standards across all sectors. In the case of India, while significant strides have been made in growing its economy since the liberalization policies of 1991, it remains classified as a lower middle-income country with its per capita income in 2021 at approximately $2,200, and even with a projected growth rate of 6%, the figure is estimated to reach only around $2,772 by April 2025. This notable gap demonstrates that despite India's robust overall economic growth, the benefits have not translated into the kind of wealth per citizen that is observed in developed nations. Turning to human development indicators, a country's progress cannot be measured by economic metrics alone. The Human Development Index, HDI, which takes into account factors such as life expectancy, education, and income, offers a more holistic view of societal progress. In 2021, India recorded an HDI of 0.633, placing it at a ranking of 132 out of 191 countries, and while modest improvements have been noted, projections for 2025 suggest that the HDI may only inch up to around 0.65. This is significantly lower than the thresholds that typically characterize developed nations, where an HDI of 0.8 or above is common. Contributing to this challenge are relatively low literacy rates, around 77% as of the latest available data, compared to literacy levels of over 90% in many developed countries, as well as other health-related challenges such as a life expectancy of approximately 70 years and maternal mortality rates that remain higher than those in more developed regions. These statistics reflect underlying systemic issues in education, healthcare access, and overall quality of life that require further investment and reform before India can be considered a fully developed economy. In addition to economic and human development challenges, there is also a pressing need to address infrastructural shortcomings. India has indeed made enormous investments in modernizing transportation networks, expanding its renewable energy capacity, and launching ambitious missions to improve basic amenities like water and sanitation. While notable projects such as the Swachh Bharat Mission and Jal Jeevan Mission have set ambitious targets, such as achieving an 80% water coverage target in rural areas, the reality on the ground often falls short of these goals, particularly in regions that are still struggling with basic connectivity and access. Similarly, the planned renewable energy target, which is aimed at reach 450 gigawatts by 2030, is commendable on paper, yet the pace of implementation continues to be a major challenge, compounded by issues in project financing, land acquisition, and coordination between various government agencies. This infrastructure gap not only hampers overall economic growth but also limits the capacity of the nation to improve living standards and offer dependable services, both of which are critical markers of a developed economy. Another significant aspect that undermines India's readiness for developed status is the state of governance and public administration. Despite numerous reforms and the adoption of digital initiatives aimed at curbing bureaucracy and increasing transparency, systemic issues such as bureaucratic inefficiencies and persistent corruption continue to hinder progress. For instance, Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index has repeatedly highlighted areas where India lags, and the challenges in curbing corruption have led to delays in project implementation and investor hesitation. Although efforts like e-governance are beginning to yield improvements, the transition towards a fully efficient and accountable public administrative framework requires sustained and widespread reforms. These governance issues, combined with uneven distribution of economic benefits across regions and demographics, underscore the importance of reforming institutional practices and enhancing transparency if India aspires to mimic the governance models that are characteristic of developed nations. Environmental sustainability is yet another factor that complicates India's journey toward developed economy status. With rapid industrialization and urbanization, the country has witnessed an inevitable increase in carbon emissions and environmental degradation. While there is a strong governmental commitment to sustainable development, evidenced by participation in international agreements and setting renewable energy targets, the balance between economic growth and environmental conservation remains precarious. India's vulnerability to climate change, coupled with challenges such as air pollution, deforestation, and water scarcity, adds a layer of complexity to its development narrative. The implementation of policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions and promoting renewable energy is critical. However, achieving these ambitious environmental goals on the scale required by a nation with India's demographic and economic profile is a formidable task. It is crucial for India to find a sustainable equilibrium that allows industrial growth without compromising the natural ecosystem and the well-being of its citizens. The evolution of the Indian economy over the past few decades has been nothing short of remarkable, yet the disparities in growth, both regionally and across social sectors, continue to be a major concern. While metropolitan areas and select urban centers have transformed into hubs of innovation and economic vibrancy, numerous rural regions continue to lag behind due to inadequate infrastructure, limited access to quality education and healthcare, and persistent socio-economic inequalities. This uneven development is further compounded by the multifaceted challenges of a diverse and populous nation, where the sheer scale of demographic diversity demands tailored, localized approaches rather than blanket policies. The vision of achieving a Viksit Bharat or developed India by mid-century, as envisaged by Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the target year of 2047, remains a long-term goal. While the current policies and strategic initiatives underline an ambitious roadmap, the gap between policy formulation and actual implementation remains significant, which is a critical barrier to real, inclusive economic advancement. It is also important to consider the implications of the current economic policies on various sectors. The focus on boosting GDP growth through reforms and liberalization, while yielding positive indicators in terms of overall economic size, has not adequately addressed the distribution of wealth and opportunities among the population. As India seeks to transition to a developed economy, emphasis on inclusive growth becomes crucial. Inclusive growth, by definition, means that the benefits of economic progress are equitably shared among all citizens, rather than being concentrated among a small elite. This is an area where India continues to struggle, as evidenced by significant income disparities and regional imbalances. The transformation of its economic structure requires policies that not only stimulate growth but also foster equitable development across different sectors and demographics. Without substantial improvements in these areas, the positive impact of impressive GDP figures could be undermined by persistent social inequalities, which in turn may affect long-term economic stability and social cohesion. Furthermore, advancements in technology and innovation are essential components of a developed economy. Developed nations are characterized by their ability to innovate and adapt rapidly to technological changes, supported by robust research and development ecosystems. In this context, India has made notable progress in the IT and technology sectors, positioning itself as a significant global player in areas such as software services, digital payments, and startup ecosystems. However, technological advancements must be complemented by broader ecosystem changes, including investment in education and skill development, to foster a culture of innovation across all sectors of the economy. While tech hubs in cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad have become celebrated examples of innovation, the broader populace still grapples with a lack of quality education and limited access to advanced technological resources. Bridging this gap is essential for building a future where technological innovation translates into widespread economic benefits and improved living standards, a prerequisite for achieving developed status. Education plays a central role in shaping both the present and the future of a nation, and India's education system is at the crossroads of immense potential and significant challenges. Reforms in education have been ongoing, with initiatives aimed at expanding access to quality education and bridging the rural-urban divide. Despite these efforts, the literacy rate, which hovers around 77 to 80% as estimated in recent reports, still trails behind that of developed nations where literacy rates often exceed 90%. Educational quality, teacher training, infrastructure in schools, and the integration of technology in teaching are areas that require urgent and sustained focus. Addressing these deficiencies is not only imperative for enhancing individual skills and productivity but also for fostering a more innovative and competitive workforce that can support the demands of a modern, developed economy. Healthcare is another critical component that must be strengthened as India aspires to reach developed nation status. Although the country has made progress with initiatives such as Ayushman Bharat, which has significantly increased healthcare coverage, there still remain glaring disparities in the availability and quality of healthcare services between urban and rural areas. Life expectancy in India, while gradually increasing, still lags behind that in developed countries. Efforts to improve maternal health, reduce infant mortality, and address the uneven distribution of healthcare facilities must continue in parallel with the expansion of infrastructure projects. A healthy population forms the backbone of any successful economy, and the long-term vision for a developed India depends on robust healthcare systems that ensure equitable access and high-quality services for all segments of the population. As we analyze these multiple dimensions, economic growth, human development, infrastructure, governance, environmental sustainability, education, and healthcare, it becomes clear that although there is significant momentum in many areas, the overall picture remains one of transition rather than transformation. India's current economic strategy, which has yielded promising results in terms of overall GDP growth and market expansion, has not yet fully addressed the critical issues of per capita income disparity, human development deficits, and infrastructural limitations that are typically seen in developed economies. Moreover, while governance reforms and technological innovations have made headway, the challenges inherent in bureaucratic inefficiencies, corruption, and uneven implementation of policies continue to be stumbling blocks. For the nation to truly ascend to the status of a developed economy, these fundamental issues need to be tackled with a comprehensive and integrated approach that aligns economic growth with social welfare and sustainable development. Environmental concerns provide an additional layer of complexity that India must navigate with prudence and foresight. As the nation strives to modernize and industrialize further, the associated environmental risks such as increased carbon emissions, water pollution, and deforestation require proactive policy measures and strict regulatory frameworks. The challenge lies not only in setting ambitious targets for renewable energy and sustainable development but also in ensuring that these targets are met through efficient implementation, coordinated policy frameworks, and continuous monitoring of progress. This dual focus on economic prosperity and environmental conservation is essential, as the long-term health of the nation's environment is directly linked to the overall quality of life and the sustainability of its economic growth. Despite these multifaceted challenges, it is important to acknowledge the significant efforts and progressive initiatives that are underway. Government programs aimed at infrastructure development, digital transformation, poverty alleviation, and skill development represent critical steps in the right direction. Policymakers are increasingly recognizing the need for inclusive and sustainable growth models that balance economic expansion with social welfare. The emphasis on long-term strategies, such as the Vision for a Developed India by 2047, indicates a commitment to systemic change. However, the road ahead is long, and the convergence of economic progress, social development, and environmental sustainability remains an iterative process that requires consistent policy support, robust governance, and active participation from all stakeholders. In summary, while India stands as the world's fifth-largest economy in terms of aggregate size, the challenges of low per capita income, suboptimal human development indicators, infrastructural deficits, governance inefficiencies, and environmental vulnerabilities collectively signal that the country is not yet poised to be classified as a developed economy. The journey toward achieving developed status involves more than mere economic growth. It demands the creation of an environment where the quality of life, equitable access to opportunities, and sustainable practices are deeply ingrained within the fabric of society. This comprehensive analysis underscores that to move from a narrative of rapid expansion to one of holistic development, India must continue to invest in education, healthcare, infrastructure, governance reforms, and environmental protections. Only with sustained effort across these diverse areas can the country hope to bridge the considerable gaps that currently separate it from the developed nations of the world. As we navigate this complex and evolving landscape, it is crucial for students, policymakers, and industry stakeholders to recognize that transformation is an ongoing process, marked by both significant achievements and considerable challenges. The current state of affairs provides an opportunity to learn from past experiences while also forging innovative paths forward. For exam preparation, it is important to understand not only the statistical data and empirical projections but also the underlying socio-economic dynamics that influence these outcomes. The interplay between economic metrics and qualitative indicators such as governance quality, human capital development, and environmental resilience forms the backbone of a robust analytical framework. By critically examining these interrelated factors, one can appreciate the multifaceted nature of development and the intricate challenges that lie in the path toward establishing a truly developed economy. In conclusion, while India's economic growth, driven by structural reforms and dynamic market forces, has undeniably transformed the national landscape over the past few decades, the journey to becoming a developed economy remains hindered by persistent gaps in per capita income, human development, infrastructure readiness, governance practices, and environmental sustainability. As we reflect on these issues today, it becomes evident that the path to developed status is a long-term commitment that requires a balanced approach, one that fosters inclusive economic growth, improves social and human development indices, implements efficient and transparent governance reforms, and ensures environmental conservation alongside industrial progress. This comprehensive understanding is vital not only for those studying the subject for competitive examinations but also for anyone interested in the future trajectory of the world's largest democracy. Now, before going, answer this question in comments. The correct answer will be given heart and pinned. Lastly, we just want to let you know that we are a newly emerging online platform for competitive exams. Creating educational explainer videos like these requires a lot of effort, money, and time. If you like these videos and want us to excel and create videos in all categories of competitive exams, then you can consider supporting us with a one-time donation through the Ko-fi platform and also by becoming a member through Patreon. This will help us create more such informative educational videos in the competitive exams space. So, one last time, subscribe and share this channel with all your friends who are preparing for competitive exams. And also, follow us on social media platforms. The links are given in the About section of the channel and also in the video description. So, see you in the next video.